89. With the completion of the Fighters Pass, that is the number of fighters in Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. Ultimate has one of the largest, most diverse rosters of playable characters in all of fighting games, and the series has gone from Nintendo's wacky little fighting game that was mostly a party game, to a celebration of video games as a whole, with characters from all across gaming crossing over. If you've been around my channel for a while, you may recall that I made a video talking about my opinions on the first Fighters Pass, and promised a video on the second Fighters Pass when it was completed. Yeah, I probably should have gotten to this video sooner. The reveal of Sora and the completion of Fighters Pass 2 was over a year ago now. Talk about time flying by. With said time, both my opinions and the game have changed significantly, and some of my points especially didn't age very well. I mean, in that last video, I talked about how Byleth was a pretty solid mid-tier without top-level representation. I think we all know how that turned out. I'll be ranking each challenger pack in Fighters Pass 2 based on a number of criteria, mainly based around the fighter. How much excitement, or hype, was generated around the fighter's reveal? How well does the character represent their home series in Smash? How well done were their animations and visuals? How good was their additional content, such as their stages and music? And of course, how fun is the fighter? I'll be giving each fighter a score out of 5 on each of these categories for a maximum total of 25 points. This is all, of course, subjective, so please don't burn me alive if I diss your favorite character. Of course, you can watch the Fighters Pass 1 video first, but that video is really old, so if you do, go into the comments and make fun of my old editing and my old voice and how I called Byleth a mid-tier. With that out of the way, let's begin with... Kicking off the second Fighters Pass is Min Min from ARMS, also known as, oh yeah, that game exists! And that's pretty much all it did. Exist. While Min Min was definitely the best choice from ARMS that isn't Springman, who is already an assist trophy, her reveal was heavily botched right from the beginning. Almost 3 months before her official reveal, a Nintendo Direct Mini revealed that a fighter from ARMS would be playable in Smash, which basically killed off any guessing who the character was. Sorry Twintel fans, the ARMS rep should logically use their, arms when fighting. And even during the trailer, right from the get-go, Min Min is in the background. They try to do a fake-out with Springman and Ninjara, but when you start the trailer with Captain Falcon eating ramen, do you really think it'd be anyone else? However, Min Min has one of the most beautifully animated trailers, with cel-shaded CGI visuals, high-action ARMS fights, and the best thing to ever happen, Captain Falcon and Kirby as ramen buddies. Hell, they even brought back Captain Falcon's voice actor after over 2 decades just to record slurping noises. This right here? This is art. A lackluster reveal coupled with the fact that ARMS is not a very popular game meant that Min Min was met with pretty lukewarm reception overall. I personally really like Min Min as a character, and probably would have chosen her if it had to be an ARMS rep. Keywords, if it had to be an ARMS rep. I feel like ARMS would have been much better for the base game, not as DLC, but at least she's the first fighter in the Fighters Pass and not the last one. Min Min is a fighter whose strengths are as clear as her arms are long. When it was announced that we were getting an ARMS character, I think everyone knew what hell was about to be unleashed. First, we had Corrin back in Smash 4, then came the Belmonts, then Byleth, and now Min Min, whose forward smash stretches across more than half of Final Destination. DLC, everyone. Min Min differs from other fighters in that some of her attacks that use her arms are tied to the A and B button, with the A button for her left arm and the B button for her right. While Min Min's left arm is always the Dragon, which boasts incredible range, pressure, and can fire a laser, Min Min's right arm can be changed with her down special. She can choose between the Ram, which fires at wide angles, great at catching jumps, the Megawatt, which is the slowest but strongest arm perfect for hard reads and early kills, and a second Dragon arm. Min Min plays heavily around creating mix-ups and massive walls to keep the opponent out with her arms, with the low commitment tilts and the high power smash variations, which can be fired at any time, in any order, and can be used in the air. Her long reach also allows her to edgeguard really well, especially utilizing Ram. Every time I edgeguard someone from halfway across the screen, I feel a pinch of guilt inside. With long arms comes a long grab, and Min Min's throws have the unique trait of powering up her Dragon arm for a short period of time, which makes me feel even more guilty for killing so early. Okay, let's be real, does anyone like playing against or watching this character? Zoners are already a heavily contested archetype, and campy playstyles are often considered lame, so a character whose entire game plan revolves around keeping the opponent out is not going to be very well received. A character that the vast majority of the player base considers unfun to watch and encourages the lack of interaction isn't very well designed on a gameplay level. Min Min's main weakness was meant to be her very weak disadvantage state, having an absolutely terrible recovery, being a short tether tied to a character with bad air mobility, not being able to escape a juggle outside of using her punishable down air, and struggling when an opponent closes in. However, her massive disjoints make it very hard for half the cast to even close in on her to get her to disadvantage. Even though she's supposed to be weak up close, her out of shield game is actually pretty good thanks to up smash. This move is frame 8, massive, kills, and also acts as a reflector. Why is this move on Min Min? Well, it's a reference to her being able to deflect attacks with kicks, and it's a cute touch, but giving this good of an anti-air to a character who is explicitly designed with horizontal stage control in mind seems very counterintuitive. Thanks to her strengths, Min Min has seen great success in tournament play, with notable players such as The Buzz, Proto Banham, and Pink Fresh showing everyone what torture really means. While I believe Min Min to not be very well designed on a gameplay level, her animations are the complete opposite. It's very hard to sell the power of attacks tied to a spring, but the launching effect and the attack trails of Min Min's arms make even the tilts feel powerful. The Ram has fire effects and will glow with the smash variant, and will always fully extend and coil back quickly, fitting its speedy nature. The smash attack variants of the Dragon and Megawatt, however, will pause for much longer on impact, and Min Min's coiled arm will even shake while the head of the arm will stay still before the opponent is launched. The sound effects on both of these arm variations are great as well. The way Min Min stands and puts her body into the attacks ties these animations together. Her non-arm attacks are very well animated as well. Her up smash uses her arms to fully launch herself in the air, which somewhat justifies this stupid hitbox, and her other animations like down smash and back throw are all very fluid and acrobatic. Min Min comes with Spring Stadium, yeah, not Ramen Bowl. While I don't find the visuals to be particularly interesting, Spring Stadium is one of my favorite casual stages in Ultimate. The stage has trampolines that occasionally activate, and small trampolines that'll sometimes pop up away from the main stage. The two ceilings on the top of the map allow players to tech off of them to survive longer, but it doesn't happen so often to the point where matches go on for far too long. If you're playing with items, drones will carry items onto the stage, which creates high-stakes situations for players to chase down these drones. The layout isn't too chaotic or messy where I don't know what's going on, but the stage gimmicks allow for interesting and fun matches. It definitely helps Spring Stadium that ARMS music plays on the stage. While I do not care for ARMS as a game, I love ARMS' soundtrack. The new remix for Ramen Bowl is in the running for my favorite remix in Smash Ultimate, and tracks like the ARMS theme, Spring Stadium, DNA Lab, and Name Redacted are a great addition to Ultimate's impressive music library. I swear, the Smash devs just wanted to sell their work playlist with a game attached to it. While I'm not a big fan of campy zoners, and I feel like I need my sins cleansed every time I play this character, Min Min was a good addition to Smash, and the best choice of the second Fighter's Pass to be the first Challenger Pack. Minecraft Steve. He absolutely needs no introduction. As soon as Mario gets punched into the cave during his reveal trailer and the monster sounds start to creep in, you know what's about to happen. I mean, it's Steve, of course the internet's gonna freak out. The Swish eShop went down like with Joker, that was to be expected. I don't think anyone expected Twitter to overload and crash though. The last time this happened was back in 2009 with the news of Michael Jackson's passing. Steve literally broke the internet. Representation from the best-selling video game of all time, and a representative for modern gaming as a whole, is a no-brainer pick for the Fighter's Pass. While Steve isn't my favorite character, I find his inclusion hilarious. He looks so out of place, but also perfectly in place at the same time. Steve is a very complex fighter that plays around set play and maintaining stage control. Many of Steve's moves utilize his tools, which can break and be upgraded at the crafting table that spawns alongside him. Resources used for tools and some other moves can be obtained through mining away. Steve can upgrade his tools all the way to Diamond, which makes his back air about as good as Arsene's back air. With mining and crafting being tied to neutral special, there's no way there's another use for this move. Right? Steve's block placing is one of the most versatile tools in all of Smash. You can build walls to keep your opponents out, create platforms out of thin air to extend your combos, block recoveries, use them to recover yourself, spike people off of them. It does basically everything short of paying your taxes. Steve's neutral revolves around playing passively and keeping his opponents out with blocks, and punishing approaches with lightning-quick moves. Steve has very strong up-close options like jab and up-tilt, and by extension neutral air and up air, which can start and continue combos and are very safe, very fast options. His moves are so fast, Steve can even do 3 up airs out of a short hop. Oh, I'm getting some flashbacks here. Steve is also not lacking in kill options, with his diamond tools in particular being very powerful. From a distance, Steve can use TNT to create confusing situations at the ledge, or use his minecart as a projectile command grab. A projectile command grab. Oh yeah, and it also leads into his kill moves. Oh yeah, and it also kills with its powered rail variant. No, the move-consuming iron does not balance it. Obviously, trying to fight Steve from a distance means he gets more time to mine, and fighting him up close means taking a lot of damage, potentially leading to a stock loss. With all of these tools, Steve has a deadly advantage state with very effective combo and kill options. His disadvantage is also quite forgiving. Elytra itself acts as a glide, oh I'm getting some flashbacks here, but combined with minecarts, blocks, and even TNT, Steve has an amazing recovery. Landing is also no problem. Steve can mix up his landing with blocks, anvil, and minecart, creating mind games, or rather, mine games. While Steve is great at close range and long range, none of his tools effectively cover mid-range, so spacing attacks well is crucial to beating Steve. His low mobility also hinders his approach, not that he needs to, and characters who can pressure him and prevent him from gathering materials can beat out Steve's bullshit. Kind of. Because of his complexity, Steve was met with a lot of speculation on how good he would be, though the general consensus was that Steve was a very powerful character, with his blocks being a big part of that. This would be proven with players like Akola, Onin, Jake, and Yanni, who have demonstrated amazing results in tournament, with the current opinion being that Steve is a definite top tier, some saying top 5, and some even saying the best in the game. Well, if the fact that there were 9 different Steves in top 64 of this year's Super Smash Con is any indication, I feel like the current opinion might be onto something. Steve didn't just break Twitter literally. Many players found Steve to be too oppressive, and more importantly, boring to watch, that they wanted him banned. There were tweets, movements, there's even a Steve strike going on. I take Smash as a hobby and don't play in tournaments, so I really can't speak here. I'm gonna speak anyways, because f*** you, it's my channel. But do take my words with the biggest grain of salt you can find. Steve is oppressive, to say the least. While a lot of what he can do looks funny, Steve being so genuinely frustrating to play against and watch that Ultimate's audience is losing interest at a rapid rate is a real issue. Steve is fundamentally not playing the same game as you. He has a number of tools that no other character has, and using them all together creates a headache-inducing game plan. However, I love watching the Bluebird app go up in flames though, so I think it's a fair trade-off. The way Steve was handled in Smash was probably the best that they could have done. Steve's toolkit grants the player the power of endless creativity, much like Minecraft does. Steve has his clunky movements straight from Minecraft. From mining to crafting to attacks, Steve was brought to life very well in Smash, and while I won't say his animations are fantastic, they certainly are faithful and representative of what he looks like in Minecraft. However, his defensive animations such as rolls, air dodge, techs, and mistech can make it ambiguous on what is actually happening, which really shouldn't be an issue in fighting games, let alone games in general. Steve comes with Minecraft World, a very creative name. The stage starts in one of 6 variants and features breakable blocks, platforms, and different materials to mine on. While the stage's layout itself is unremarkable, it is so surreal playing Smash in a Minecraft landscape. It's hard to make out during a match, but the background details are a really nice touch as well. Steve comes with 7 music tracks, many of which are remixes from music originating from Minecraft Dungeons, Minecraft Earth, and some minigames from the Legacy console editions. Huh? Sakurai says in his presentation that the original tracks from Minecraft were too relaxing for Smash, but we have remixes of the equally ambient Beneath the Mask, City Folk Plaza theme, and Comet Observatory, and don't forget the absolute banger of a track that is Environmental Noises. I'm not buying it for 1 second, Sakurai. While the character itself represents Minecraft perfectly, the music does not. Show of hands for whoever has played Minecraft Dungeons. Okay, a few of you. Now show of hands for whoever has played Minecraft Earth. Yeah, that's what I thought. Steve requires a certain kind of brain to play, and I don't have that kind of brain, so I rarely touch the character in a serious match. When I do play him, however, there's always some stupid shenanigans that follow. Despite how fun he can be in a casual setting, Advanced Steve Tech is terrifying. The block cancel combos were pretty easy, then came the pickaxe loops, then phantom block reversing, then no impact landing, then the hand cramps. Seriously, it feels like new Steve Tech is discovered every day. Honestly, the best part of having Steve in Smash is being able to see Minecraft Kirby. Oh, and we also got to see Sakurai's Minecraft world in the presentation. This man has a villager trading hall. That's how you know someone is qualified to develop your games. Revealed at the 2020 Game Awards comes Sephiroth from Final Fantasy VII. There is no better way to introduce one of gaming's most iconic villains than killing the all-powerful entity in a single strike by slicing it in half, then proceeding to beat the absolute shit out of the roster for the next minute. Within the first few beats of his iconic track, One-Winged Angel, you know it's Sephiroth and you know everyone's in trouble. This screenshot of Sephiroth stabbing Mario? This is one of the rawest images to come out of Smash, period. The cinematics of the trailer, the fight between Cloud and Sephiroth especially, are some of the best cinematics to come from a Smash trailer. This trailer heavily references Final Fantasy VII Advent Children, and yeah, it's a great movie, and the callbacks are great. I don't need to explain much more about why this trailer is good, just watch it. Sephiroth received near universal praise for having arguably the best and hypest reveal trailer to come out of Smash, and for being one of the greatest, most recognizable villains in gaming history. Sephiroth is a lightweight with pretty decent mobility that plays a mix of a bait and punish, glass cannon, and zoner playstyles with a heavy emphasis on careful spacing. With a sword the size of your mother, Sephiroth's clearest strength is his range. Most of Sephiroth's moves use his massive sword, which makes his mid-range incredibly terrifying. Well-spaced sword moves apply pressure safely, and many of his moves are deadly at even mid-percent. While Sephiroth has some combo options with neutral air and his 3 combo throws, he mainly relies on having a good understanding of the opponent's game plan, and beating out their preferred options with well-placed moves to take stocks early. When Sephiroth takes enough damage, his comeback mechanic, Winged Form, activates. With his one wing, Sephiroth's mobility goes from pretty average to really damn good, boasting a third jump, very fast running and airspeed, a 1.3 times damage multiplier on all of his attacks, and it gives his smash attacks super armor. Sephiroth has, in my opinion, the best comeback mechanic in the game. Yeah, I think Winged Form is better than Arsene. Come at me. Unlike Arsene, you can't camp out Winged Form, since Sephiroth only loses the wing once he loses his stock or takes yours. Sometimes. And while Joker is the better character, the buff Sephiroth receives gives him more benefit than Arsene does to Joker. Sephiroth is great at conditioning an opponent and keeping them on their toes, especially with Shadow Flare. Getting even one of these orbs on the opponent immediately shifts the game in Sephiroth's favor, since the orbs detonate after a set amount of time, and Sephiroth can punish what the opponent does in reaction to the detonation. With his long-range moves and Shadow Flare conditioning shield very well, Sephiroth's down smash blends perfectly into his kit, being a powerful shield breaker and kill move. This gives Sephiroth some of the most consistent shield break setups in the game, which synergizes with his Giga Flare, being able to take stocks off a shield break at even 0%. While Sephiroth's Flare and its charge variants aren't very great in neutral, they're pretty good in a ledge trapping situation and can be cancelled to bait out an option from the opponent. Sephiroth has a very respectable disadvantage. While Blade Dash is an alright burst movement option, its held variant, Octaslash, is a safe recovery with massive hitboxes, that can also act as a tech chase and 2-frame tool, as well as catch opponents when B-reversed. Scintilla only activates in front of Sephiroth, but its high multiplier, consistency in countering recoveries, and it activating even when it misses, makes it a great counter. Sephiroth is far better at the ledge compared to most characters, as he can stab into the stage with forward air or cover his getup with many of his massive moves, and when Sephiroth is the one keeping the opponent at ledge, Cloud gets flashbacks. While Sephiroth has his strengths, he also has a number of weaknesses, his first and most obvious being his weight. Despite being ripped as hell, Sephiroth's weight is tied with Mewtwo, Olimar, Pikachu, and Kirby. He's lighter than even Joker, a teenager, Sora, a child, and Isabelle, a tiny puppy. Nearly all of Sephiroth's moves have high startup and end lag. Slow frame data also means that while Sephiroth's sweet-spotted moves kill very early, they're also reactable, meaning that he has to rely heavily on reads and safe pressure to take a stock, as none of his throws kill, which makes his kill power somewhat inconsistent. These weaknesses means that Sephiroth has to play very carefully, relying on outmaneuvering the opponent and being very precise, as even one slip-up can lead to your very early death. I love how Sephiroth feels in Smash. My favorite playstyles are Bait and Punish and Glass Cannon, my favorite archetype is a sword fighter with amazing pressure and mix-up potential, and Sephiroth is right up my alley. Sephiroth's entire kit flows together incredibly well, and fits his character thematically as well. Forcing the opponent into unfavorable positions with precise hits, then nailing them with your heaviest attacks feels rewarding and incredibly cool. While Sephiroth was met with positive opinions early on his release, Sephiroth has seen few tournament results. This is most likely due to his low weight and the fact that he needs to be played very precisely at top level, with some players even calling him mid-tier. However, players like Ned, Ken, and Tweak demonstrate Sephiroth's terrifying capabilities under the right hands. While I'm very biased considering I main this character, I believe Sephiroth to be at least high tier, as his incredible ranged pressure, advantage state, and his respectable disadvantage allow him to constantly keep the opponent where he wants them to be and take early stocks with a well-placed hit. Also, doesn't saying, "Oh yeah, Sephiroth is my favorite mid-tier" sound really weird? Sephiroth has many great animations. His slow frame data actually helps his animations by letting them build up anticipation, then striking at the perfect moment. Many of his moves look effortless, controlled, yet powerful, which perfectly ties into his character. The motion smears on his slashing attacks look really good, with his massive range giving them all the more room to be shown off. The darkness effects on some of his moves, and the particle effects on all of his flare moves and shadow flares are very flashy as well. The sound effects round it all out, making Sephiroth feel destructive as hell. My favorite Sephiroth animation has to be Octaslash. Sephiroth puts his full force into the attack, and the motion smears and slashing sounds on Octaslash complement this incredibly satisfying move. However, many of Sephiroth's moves come from pretty obscure source material, like Dissidia and... give me a second. Ehrgeiz. Sephiroth's stage is Northern Cave, which features beautiful visuals in the background and a neutral layout with no stage hazards, which means it's often tournament legal. Sephiroth comes with a grand total of 9 tracks. Finally, more than 2 Final Fantasy songs! All of these tracks, both the new remixes and the ones taken straight from the source, are amazing. However, the clear standout here is One Winged Angel, one of the most iconic tracks in gaming. I'm very glad that the Advent Children version of the track is included as well, as that's one of my favorite songs in general. While I'm not counting this to his score, I want to point out that Sephiroth's Classic Mode is a boss rush against all of Ultimate's bosses, culminating with a fight against Master and Crazy Hand on Northern Cave. The music? One Winged Angel. The hands aren't the bosses here, you are. Sephiroth is one of my all-time favorite characters in gaming, and is one of the best additions to Smash overall, and the fact that they gave him a limited-time mode reminiscent of a boss fight proves that they knew this character was something special. Hailing from Xenoblade Chronicles 2 are Pyra and Mythra, who ditched Rex to join Smash. The reveal heavily relies on the fact that it was a Nintendo Direct and not Smash specific, and keeps the audience guessing on whether it's new Xenoblade Chronicles 2 content or something else. However, when you see Pyra on Final Destination, the audience already knows she's coming to Smash as a new fighter, but the shot lingers far too long on the surprise that, "Oh, Pyra's coming to Smash!" despite that message already being conveyed to the audience. They also never shut the hell up in the trailer. Seriously, this is 50% gameplay and 50% talking! However, the rest of the reveal trailer was done really well. The mix of great cinematics and gameplay does the character justice, especially the bit at the end with Shulk. While I have never played Xenoblade Chronicles 2, I do think highly of the series' storytelling, world building, and combat choreography especially, and Pyra and Mythra, while a bit late to the party like Min Min, are a good choice for Smash. The main gimmick of the character is being able to quickly and freely switch between Pyra and Mythra with down special, much like Pokemon Trainer and Pre-Smash for Zelda and Sheik. I'll be referring to the character collectively as Aegis, since Pythra feels weird to say, and Pyra Mythra is 4 syllables. The two blades of the Aegis are very lopsided. Mythra plays a mix of a rushdown and bait and punish playstyle, with a strong neutral capable of overwhelming opponents with her speed. With great combo starters in all of her tilts and aerials, combo enders in her specials, and many tech chase setups, Mythra is able to rack up damage very quickly. Mythra is also able to escape disadvantage really well thanks to her unique Foresight, which activates during defensive dodge options. While Mythra still takes approximately half of the damage the move deals, Foresight slows the opponent down for what feels like an illegal amount of time, and allows Mythra to escape many options that she normally shouldn't. However, none of Mythra's moves kill at reasonable percents, with even her forward smash needing 100% to take stocks, even later for the other two. This is where Pyra comes in. While her mobility is terrible, Pyra boasts longer range than Mythra, and although she loses basically all of Mythra's combo power, her moves are fantastic at taking stocks. Pyra also excels at the ledge, with her multi-hits in Flame Nova and Blazing End being able to catch many get-up options, her up special being decently fast and killing very early, and her down air being the game's most effective spiking option with its massive range and generous spike window, which gives her both a terrifying off-stage presence and great kill confirms into up smash and up air. However, Pyra's slow frame data and poor mobility leave her easy to punish, and she lacks Mythra's Foresight, meaning her disadvantaged state suffers greatly. Switching mechanic aside, the Aegis is a very straightforward sword fighter. While individually these characters are powerful, the two characters complement each other very well. Being able to quickly switch between Pyra and Mythra heavily ties into their gameplay, and knowing which moments to use each blade is vital to playing a strong Aegis. And by that, I mean use Mythra until your opponent is offstage or at kill percent, then take your stock with Pyra. However, both blades have shared weaknesses as well, namely a very poor and exploitable recovery, with Pyra's only option having no horizontal coverage and Mythra's horizontal recovery tool not snapping to ledge. Their moves also have surprisingly poor safety on shield, which applies more heavily to Mythra since she focuses less on spacing and more on getting in melee range. The Aegis were immediately seen as a very powerful character, with Mythra's overwhelming neutral and Pyra's amazing kill power, leaving only their poor recovery as a major shared weakness. With representation from MKLeo, Spargo, Cosmos, and Shuton, the Aegis are near universally considered a top 3 character, with many vouching for them to be the best character in the game due to being very simple to play yet very effective. I like sword fighters, and I like having great mobility, so the Aegis are very fun to play for me. I like being able to keep my opponents in disadvantage, and escaping options that I shouldn't be able to escape feels like a crime, and I love crime. However, their recovery is a bit too weak and their attributes are a bit too polarized for my tastes, so while I enjoy playing Aegis, I don't do so as much as some other characters. While Pyra and Mythra share the same basic attack animations, a good amount of effort was made to make each animation fit both of these characters. Obviously, some animations were made with one of the blades in mind, like Mythra with her aerials and Pyra with her smash attacks, but none of these animations feel out of place. I personally prefer Mythra's green motion smears and particle effects, and her Photon Edge and Lightning Buster are much cooler in my opinion. The Aegis comes with Cloud Sea of Allrest, a stage where certain characters from Xenoblade Chronicles 2 will show up in the background like mementos. This stage, while not too interesting of a layout, is visually beautiful, made all the better by being able to play music from Xenoblade Chronicles 2. God, I may know jack shit about the Xenoblade games, but what I do know is that the music is absolute fire. You Will Recall Our Names, Bringer of Chaos Ultimate, and Battle Torna are some of my favorites, but really, the whole package is great. I know some people prefer the original counterattack compared to the remix, but it's still really good. While I hold no particular attachment to Xenoblade Chronicles 2, Pyra and Mythra were a great reveal in my opinion. I guess the Aegis is the Smash devs' way of telling me to go play a Xenoblade game, so yeah, if you don't hear from me for a year, you know what happened. Coming in from Tekken is Kazuya Mishima, who joins Cloud, Joker, and Sephiroth as one of the edgiest characters in Smash. The only character too edgy for a victory theme, actually, which means I have to use something else where I show the scores, because his victory theme says, Kazuya Mishima wins. And, well, I don't actually have much to say about this trailer. Ganondorf is f***ing dead, he gets dropped off a cliff, and Kazuya shows up all within the first 20 seconds. There's not much build up to the grand reveal of the character at all. Kazuya then proceeds to kill more people by throwing them off the cliff, because he's got some issues. I've heard of Tekken and I've heard of Kazuya before, but neither hold any significance to me whatsoever. To me, Kazuya is just a really edgy dude with daddy issues. I do like this little bit at the end of the trailer where Kazuya drops Kirby off a cliff though. It's Kirby. He cannot die. Kazuya is a heavyweight who plays a very grounded game. Being a fighting game character, he's bound to have some moves tied to special inputs. I mean, Min is a fighting game character too, but everyone forgets ARMS exists, so she doesn't count. Kazuya has way too many moves, with 14 different moves tied to command inputs in addition to his standard moveset, and many of his moves utilize double button presses as well. Kazuya plays a patient neutral as he has a lack of approach options, and while he has his Devil Blaster, it's slow, punishable, and reactable, so it's not a great option. Kazuya also has a pretty weak disadvantage. He's unique in that his jump squat is 7 frames compared to the cast's universal 3 frames, and he also lacks both combo breaking and landing options other than a stall and fall down air. Being a heavy with a tall frame and a floaty double jump similar to Mewtwo and Ness, he's also very easy to combo. Kazuya's advantage state looks a bit like Electric Wind God Fist. This one move makes Kazuya 100 times more stupid than he was. Not only can this move be done out of an invincible dash input, and not only is it one of the safest moves on Shield, it stuns the opponent for a very long time. Long enough for Kazuya to get combos off of, combos which can lead into Electric Wind God Fist. Kazuya is able to get tons of damage or even kills off of a stray hit, meaning that playing against a good Kazuya basically means you're watching a cutscene until the next stock. Kazuya also has some pretty good special moves, which includes Devil Fist that crumples the opponent and leads into, and Heaven's Door, which is a command grab that kills pretty early, but what's the point of using that when you can just... Kazuya can also send the opponent at brutal angles off stage with both his forward tilt and his special command input throw. Yes, he gets a command input throw. As a dumb cherry on top of the bullshit cake, Kazuya has a comeback mechanic, simply called Rage. Not to be confused with the universal mechanic every fighter has, also called Rage. During Rage, Kazuya gets a 1.1 times damage multiplier on all of his moves, and transforms his down special into Rage Drive, a powered up version of Heaven's Door. The strongest version performed with, you guessed it, a command input. However, if Kazuya misses a certain amount of Rage Drives or if he sustains enough damage, Kazuya will be knocked out of Rage. Kazuya's main weakness is that we are all limited by human capability and are all very much at risk of carpal tunnel. Electric Wind God Fist has a 2-frame input window to compensate for the moves. Everything. Kazuya's recovery, despite being able to go quite high, can be exploitable, with Kazuya's terrible air mobility contributing to that. Kazuya is also prone to being camped out, or at least outspaced by many characters, and struggles against characters who can outmaneuver his strong options. Within the first day of his release, Twitter was filled with Kazuya clips, which gave me nightmares that day. Despite Kazuya being a very powerful character with one of the best advantage states, his difficulty and the fact that most people care about their hands means that he's seen less representation overall in tournaments, with the most prominent Kazuya players being Riddles and T. Kazuya was also causing a bit of a stir on Twitter, though not as much as Steve. It's definitely less humiliating to get your ass kicked by Kazuya Mishima than funny Blockman over here. Kazuya has some of the most explosive plays in all of Ultimate, and Kazuya Dittos are some of the most fun matches to watch, since whoever gets touched first just dies. God, I suck at Kazuya. My Electric Wind God Fist is not consistent at all, and I constantly flub the combos. And when I do get the combos, I feel disgusting. Oh no, my opponent lost one neutral interaction, time for them to die. Kazuya's stage is the Mishima Dojo. The stage is a faithful representation of the stage in Tekken, with breakable walls and ceiling. Other than that, it's quite straightforward. Heihachi Mishima can be seen in the back of the stage, showing that no, they didn't forget about him. Mishima Dojo is a pretty fun casual stage. The breakable walls are similar to the King of Fighters Stadium, another one of my favorite casual stages, and the close side blast zones make up for the walls temporarily shielding fighters. Kazuya is faithful to his representation in Tekken to a scary degree. Electric Wind God Fist is just as important for a Mishima in Tekken as it is in Smash. All of his moves come straight from there and behave much like they do in his home games. In fact, apparently some of Kazuya's animations are ripped straight from Tekken 7, with some of these same animation quirks that occur, like how Kazuya's back twists all around his body when performing Spinning Demon. Really though, who can blame the animators? Animation is really hard and time consuming, and when Kazuya has 10 billion moves, I'd use what I have available as well. Kazuya also possesses Tekken's low amount of hit stun on most of his moves, meaning that opponents often go flying as soon as they're hit. most moves. God, who thought this was a good idea? This does kill some of the impact that certain moves should normally have compared to if he had regular hit stun. Kazuya comes with 39 different tracks from Tekken, with 8 of them being new remixes. The Smash Fighters passes really don't miss with the music. Even with some of the underwhelming packs, they're not bad at all. My personal favorite from this pack is Moonsider's First. I've literally never played Tekken 7, but this track is constantly playing while I'm working on things. It's like near perfection for a video game OST track. Tekken's music is great backing for intense Smash matches, and I'm glad to be able to hear it in the Smash Devs' work playlist. While Kazuya isn't the most recognizable character in the world, he still comes from a series with a long history. Of the Fighters Pass, I have the least amount of attachment to Kazuya, probably because Tekken is too hard for a baby gamer such as myself who fears the imminent threat of carpal tunnel. We round off the second Fighters Pass, and Ultimate as a whole, with Kingdom Hearts' Sora, the character that many thought would be impossible, myself included. Many of Ultimate's roster picks were influenced by the Fighter ballot all the way back in 2015, and the winner of that ballot? None other than Sora. Such a recognizable character from one of gaming's most beloved series rightfully earns his place in Smash. The reveal trailer starts off where the Smash Ultimate reveal trailer was, with Inkling and the Smash Ball in their eyes. Everyone is here, and everyone is an amiibo. Mario comes back to life and walks towards the flame, and pulls out a blade. Some may be able to recognize the shape immediately, but when the Mickey keychain shows up, everyone knows who's coming. Sora flies through the sky, returning the life to everyone in the crowd. If Sephiroth wasn't my favorite reveal trailer, I'd give that honor to Joker, but Sora's up there. A great way to end off Smash Ultimate, and a great way to reveal one of the most requested fighters. My exposure to Kingdom Hearts is limited. I've played a bit of the first one recently, but coming from someone who loves characters like Donald and Goofy, it was great to see them in a video game. Contrary to every other fighter from Fighters Pass 2, Sora lacks a fighter mechanic, being a simple yet unique sword fighter with floaty aerial movements. Sora's main strength is his ability to pressure shields using a variety of lingering hitboxes in neutral and forward air, jab, and forward tilt. These moves behave like most jabs in that they're 3-hit combos that can end on any of the 3 hits. Combined with Sora's good air movement, they allow him to drift in and out of shields with neutral and forward air to either cross up, stay out of punish range, or land early to catch the opponent. Forward tilt is especially good at ledge trapping, as the lingering hitbox catches neutral get-ups and the final hit can hit under ledge. Being able to stop these moves before the final launching hit also allows Sora to loop neutral air or forward air as combos, some of which can even lead into kills. Other than that, Sora's normals are pretty standard. Down tilt sends you upwards, back air is a kill move, up air is a juggling tool, etc. Sora actually has some reliable kill power. His up air and back air both kill at reasonable percentages, and back throw acts as a really early kill throw. Sora can also kill confirm into his up smash and side smash from neutral and forward air. Sora's recovery can reach insane distances. Being able to cancel the end lag of up special into side special allows Sora to recover from the deepest and furthest parts of the stage. With such a good recovery, Sora can go deep for edge guards with his lingering aerials. Sora's neutral special is unique in that it cycles between 3 spells, Firaga, Thundaga, and Blizzaga every time it's used. Firaga is a pretty conventional linear projectile. Thundaga summons 3 descending lightning bolts, being the only spell with any form of kill power and being a great edge guarding option, and Blizzaga fires ice crystals that can freeze the opponent very easily and also deals good shield damage. Of the 3 spells, Thundaga is by far the best one. However, each have their own uses in his kit, along with being able to stall in the air. With Sora's counter being able to stagger opponents on contact, it means that despite the standard hitbox, it can very reliably beat out recoveries both offstage and on ledge, and can even break through moves like Sonic's Spin Dash, Game & Watch's Fire, and even Banjo's Wonder Wing. Sora's low weight means he'll die pretty early, and he has the same floaty double jump and landing issue as Kazuya, but at least his down air can auto-cancel when used high enough. For a sword fighter, Sora's reach isn't all too great, so many characters can hit him without being in his melee range. Maybe I'm just saying that because I play Sephiroth and I'm basically hitting people with a meter stick, but his range is pitiful compared to every other sword fighter. Except maybe Meta Knight, who also has a toothpick for a sword. Community opinion on Sora's viability has had drastically different opinions without much of a general consensus. However, Sora has been lacking results, with his 2 wins at Majors being near his launch at the hands of Sakurai, and recently at Glitch Regen, where Japanese player Kameme placed second. Sora's representatives in Kameme and Komorikiri show that Sora can do well, however, both players don't travel very often. You basically never see Sora in a major, let alone him winning, but when the stars align, greatness happens.
He wasn't a surrender at all.
What? No, guys! No, he didn't! What the? Production! Production!
Oh, thunder.
No way.
It is close to getting
No
out of
f***ing
here
way.
for
No,
someone.
he's Sora.
I don't know how much more
Yeah,
he's got left
you're
in
not
him.
getting Sora with that.
Oh,
Oh!
No!
Once again,
Here they come!
the up smash. That was insane, guys. Sora
Oh,
can't
no!
compete at the top.
I've already talked about how I love playing sword fighters, and Sora's straightforward moves are just what I love having in a character. I love doing nair loops because even though they're long, boring combos, I suck at the timing, which means it's perfectly escapable, and that also means it's my opponent's fault for not breaking out. However, I have a lot of little gripes with Sora, like how I absolutely despise playing characters with the floaty double jump he has, his multi-hits having some consistency issues, and not having a spike to name a few, that completely kills any intention I have of playing the character outside of a funny haha pick. Sora's stage is Hollow Bastion, a beautiful, and I mean beautiful stage. While the stage itself is nothing special, its layout being similar to Hazardless Smashville, the background is gorgeous, with the stage traveling through the Rising Falls and the Hollow Bastion Castle in the background. When someone reaches 1 stock or the time is running low, Hollow Bastion transforms into Dive to the Heart, which features one of 7 Stations of Awakening in the background. These pieces of artwork actually come from the 15th anniversary merchandise, so pictures of Disney characters like Donald or Goofy have been replaced with Kingdom Hearts related icons instead. Hollow Bastion is one of my favorite stages to play on, and the fact that it's an even, hazardless stage means that it's completely tournament legal. I love this stage to bits. I might even call it one of my favorite stages in Smash, made all the better with Kingdom Hearts music playing. While none of the tracks are remixes because Disney, being able to hear Night of Fate, Hollow Bastion, and Fragments of Sorrow in Smash, absolute perfection. Sora was made to be faithful to his source material and kind of even plays like he does. Sora's focus on 1-2 air combos and his floatiness bring to mind Kingdom Hearts, and the star effect on his hits make his attacks feel a hell of a lot better. Sora's animations definitely bring Magic Disney Boy to mind, and his aerials in particular were designed around his floaty double jump to make them look good with both a regular and double jump. While the move isn't particularly good in game, down air's animation is one of my favorites from his kit. However, a lot of his moves are pretty generic animations, like down tilt, up air, and back air. A lot of his moves also have very high knockback despite their flowy animations and weaker sound effects conveying otherwise. This does make a lot of his moves unsatisfying to land, since it feels like you're just gently whacking someone and then they go flying. Sora is a fantastic addition to Smash. I don't think any character from the second Fighter's Pass is as deserving of being in the game as he is, and he was absolutely the best way to close out Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. Luckily, he doesn't bring any complicated lore with him to the game, so I can just focus on beating the shit out of people. And that's the last fighter from Ultimate's DLC. While many of these characters got the same score for some of the categories, I won't just tie them in the final tallying because that's a cop-out. For hype, my pick is Sora, who has the most impactful trailer on a historical level for Smash, and is one of the most perfect send-offs to a piece of media I've seen. Representation goes to Kazuya, who mainly won this position because some of his animations were ripped straight from Tekken, but he is very faithful to his home games, carrying many of their mechanics and quirks to Smash. Design goes to Sephiroth, who is loaded with fantastic animations, sound effects, and general visual design. Fun, the most subjective category, also goes to Sephiroth. I mean, I main the character, why wouldn't he be at the top of my list for fun? Lastly, additional content goes to the Aegis, who brings a beautiful stage and some of my favorite video game music to Smash. And with the rankings out of the way, the crown for the best challenger pack of Fighters Pass 2 goes to... Sora's inclusion in Smash is still one of the absolute highlights of Ultimate, with a fan-favorite character bringing tons of fans to tears at his inclusion, and was a perfect send-off to one of the biggest celebrations of video games ever made. My runner-up pick goes to Sephiroth, my personal favorite of the second Fighter's Pass, and only behind Joker as my favorite DLC fighter. Sephiroth is tied with Sora for the point total. While Sora wins in the quality of his reveal trailer, his representation, and his stage, Sephiroth's design and fantastic gameplay are points he has against Sora. I deliberated on the outcome of the video even before I started writing the script, but ultimately, the real winner of the second Fighter's Pass comes down to your own philosophy. Do you value characters for their general inclusion and representation to their home games, or do you value the gameplay aspect of Smash more? Despite Sephiroth being one of my favorite characters, Smash isn't just a competitive game. It's a game for everyone, from little Timmy to Mr. Number 1 in the world over here. And Sephiroth does have a high skill barrier with how precise you have to be, and just how careful you have to play in order to maximize reward, or otherwise he can feel very unsatisfying. Sora, however, is the perfect representation of the former philosophy. Sora's simple gameplay and feel appeals to the Kingdom Hearts fans, casual players, and some competitive players alike. His kit is simple on the surface, but has layers of depth for those who wish to dive deeper, perfect for many audiences. If only he didn't have that goddamn double jump. I'd love to hear your rankings of each of these characters down in the comments below, and be sure to share some stories on your thoughts on the reveals and which character holds most significance to you. I love reading your comments a lot, and I learn a lot of new stuff from them. Super Smash Bros. Ultimate is my favorite fighting game of all time, great for both casual and competitive play, and I'm sure I'll be sinking many more hours into the game. And hey, playing all these DLC fighters has given me a new appreciation for them. I might even play more Kazuya, and I have carpal tunnel.